Hey everyone, it's Jamie Broderick. Welcome to our webinar. Today we're going to be talking with Stephanie Trager. Looks like your name was typed wrong in the thing. Sorry about that. She is one of the retreat leaders at the Business Adventure Retreat, Soar to New Heights, in September 17th through the 19th in Milton, New York. And today we're going to be talking about 3 mindset shifts that you can make to really embrace your potential, because everybody has such greatness inside them, but they don't always fully reveal that. Something is holding them back. And maybe, Stephanie, you can tell us what qualifies you to be my awesome leader at the retreat. Because when I was first introduced to you, I looked at you on paper or online, and I was like, damn, this girl has got it going on. She's a leadership expert, a success coach. She trains people to perform at their peak. It just blew me away. I said, oh, it's too good to be true. And I got on the phone with you and you were like, yeah, I'm coming. I was like, damn, girl, I am so happy. It was like Marissa knew exactly who I needed for this event. I'm so thrilled to share you with my audience. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your background and why you're so passionate about helping people reach that level of greatness.
Thank you, Jamie. I'll just say the reason why I was like, hell yeah, I'm coming, is because you told me it involved tree climbing. And I am a passionate tree lover and a tree climber myself. So in a nutshell, like when I was really young, in my early 20s, I was a forest activist. I graduated college, moved out to California, and was like, oh my God, no one told me about this beautiful place. And so I got really swept away into my passion for the redwood forests, and I saw them logging these ancient trees. And I literally was climbing these trees and sleeping in 350 feet up in the canopy of these trees. So that was kind of the beginning of my adult career as an activist, which led me to the law, because, tree sitting, it actually did work. We protected a lot of the trees. But, what was a long-term view here? How can I make an impact? So I became an attorney and was doing human rights work and environmental justice, and then really got burned out on the activism piece, which was kind of all I knew. And that led me into a corporate law firm. Like, an opportunity arose and I was there, and it was a very big learning experience, and I was there for a while. And it was during that time where I was like, how do I pull it all together? All of my gifts and talents as a healer, as an activist, for people, for the best, we could do better. Capitalism can do better. We have so much potential. I never thought I could climb a tree, like in the middle of the night, a 3-hour expedition up a giant ancient 500-foot redwood or whatever. But, when you just do, you can blow yourself away. But what happens is we think too much, especially us intellectual, smart people, right? We think too much and then we talk ourselves out of it, or our subconscious mind does it for us. So I just became really passionate about my own struggles and journeys. How do I break out of this law firm? Like, how do I really follow my passion? I was always envious of women who had these awesome entrepreneur lives. And I was like, how do you do that? So then I set out on a course to do that, and started with health coaching and then business coaching. And it's been about 10 years on this coaching consulting journey, pulling it all together. And so that's a little bit of my background. What it all comes down to is helping people really maximize their potential. But I mean, like, just in the bigger scale, like, so many of us are feeling really deeply right now about the world and how we can give back, and how do we really leverage our gifts and talents to feel like we plug in and make a difference. And so it's that legacy impact. How do we have it? How do we do it consciously?
Yeah, that's really good. I wanted to do this retreat up in the trees, which you love that. It all happened because I did a ropes course and had this amazing shift in my mindset. I'm all about having no fear and just going for it and figuring it out later. But this was even better. I did this challenge course. It was my 3rd time, and it was so hard physically and mentally. I really had to push myself through. I did it with my daughter. She's 12 years old, and she's, of course, is bouncing along, no fear. And she's like, come on, Mom, you've got this, you've got this. She's cheering me on. And she's like, well, do you want to be rescued? I'm like, no way. I will not be rescued. I will achieve this. And I got through it, and I had the harness still on me when I said, this is amazing how I feel right now. I feel like I can conquer the world. I can do anything I put my mind to. I need to share this experience with my audience. I'm having a retreat. So I just put it out there, and the whole event has kind of manifested itself. First, Jen Groover announces that she has a book coming out about overcoming fear and reaching your potential. And I sent her a text as soon as I saw that announcement about her book being published. And she was like, sure, I'll be your keynote. Awesome. Then I tell Marissa about this event, and she like introduces me to you. And then my friend Michelle introduces me to Ellen Palmer, who's coming on Sunday. It's like then Rebecca's coming to do yoga, and then Amy's going to be on board. And then this woman, Carol, and I met on LinkedIn. It's just all coming together. And I've said this before, the hotel was like, it's just some hotel. It's not going to be that great. And then they told me on the phone, we're gutting the entire hotel and renovating it completely. It'll be ready by time for your event. I was like, oh my goodness, it's so perfect. It's awesome. So yeah, so we're going to be doing mindset work and yoga and visualization and leadership training and success coaching and doing the ropes challenge. And you'll be pushed a little bit, but not where you're going to be like, you're not going to kill yourself. You're not going to get hurt. We're not going to push you too far. It's kind of how I handle all my coaching. I'm always know what level they need to be pushed to, which is just that next level, and then a little more. And you'll be so surprised at what you can achieve. So I think some people are afraid of this ropes course piece of it, but it's such an amazing experience. It'll tie into the coaching so well. Don't you think?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And another part of it is being out in nature. And, just having, like, first of all, being out of your everyday routine, but then the connection with nature. I think that we underestimate the power of nature as our coach, right?
That's so true.
We are nature. We are humans are nature. So it's that like, reconnecting, replugging in, when you go into nature, you somehow feel better for some reason. So you've got the support of nature in those ropes courses, and then support of awesome coaches and the people you brought together for this. So it just sounds really fun and amazing.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do for your clients, and then I'll introduce the audience if anyone wants to get live on the phone, and then we can launch into the content. So just tell us a little bit about kind of work you do with your audience.
My work varies. I work with entrepreneurs, and that's sort of a lot of business coaching, mindset coaching, and personal evolution. To reach your next level, we all know, if we're on this conversation here, we all know that's about a journey of personal evolution. So a lot of the work I do is pretty deep. I'm pretty deep, and I attract people who want to go deep and really get to the bottom of things. I call it the causation. I mean, that's a lawyer's term, like but for this, then that, it's kind of how you find causation. And that's like, how do you find the reason why something is, holding you back? Let's go and find it out. Sometimes you got to just move forward, but sometimes it helps to delete the file, right? Or heal it or transform it. It's a lot of deep work like that. And I also have a background in shamanism. So that's my spiritual path. And it's always part of the work that I do, helping people tap into their own inner intuition, inner wisdom, and other sense, because that's where I feel like that's where the power is for real transformation. And so it's helping people deepen their inner wisdom. And so it's a combination of that personal leadership coaching, success coaching, all the buzzwords, right? But on another hand, I'm really passionate about everything we do being more and more conscious of our awareness, of our relationships, our everything, and coming from a place where there's, like as you were saying before, there's more than enough abundance, there's more than enough everything. How do we access that? So that's on one hand. And then on another hand, I also have a law firm, and it's Trager Law. It's the conscious contracts firm. And I'm a firm believer that contracts, we have soul contracts, we have, why are we in relationship with people in business, to be more intentional and more conscious about it, to create like sacred reciprocity in everything we do for it to have its maximum abundance and proliferate goodness into the world. So that's a nutshell.
That's incredible. You are one of a kind, girl. That's for sure.
Y'all are.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. That's why I'm like, don't worry about anyone else. It's like, you are unique. No one is you. People buy from you because of you. Yeah. So I'm going to unmute everyone. And if we could just have people just say, like, introduce who you are and what you do, just so that Stephanie knows who she's speaking with. Let's see. We have Vicky on the line, right? Vicky, you want to say hello first?
Hi, Stephanie. My name is Vicki Brown. I am a mentor with Score Bucks County, and I also own a business in Doylestown.
What's the business name?
It's called Harmony Clean. We are a greenhouse cleaning company.
Awesome. Everyone needs their house cleaned. That's for sure.
Yep.
All right. Who else? Who's 850-0791?
Hi, it's Eileen.
Oh, hi, Eileen. Are you on your iPad and your phone?
Yes, I'm trying to get my iPad off.
Oh, okay.
I'm working out while I listen.
Okay, that's cool. Well, introduce yourself.
Hi, Stephanie. I am the owner of Newtown Health and Wellness. We offer Pilates, chiropractic, massage. You know, we do it all hand in hand to make people recover from injuries or any autoimmune diseases they may have. So we combine everything together.
Awesome.
Can you hear me? Hi.
That's awesome. Very good.
So
yeah,
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Irene.
All right. And then we have 292-8636. You want to reveal your identity? Maybe not. Okay. You don't have to introduce yourself. Okay. So let's launch into some content. What do you say, girl? Sound good? All right. So today's webinar is about pushing the limits on your potential. Okay. Not holding back. So at the retreat, actually, what Stephanie is going to be working on, just so you kind of know where this is headed, if you decide to join us in September at the Adventure Retreat, she's going to be leading the morning session, and Jen Gruber's handling the afternoon session on day 3. And what Stephanie's going to be doing is visualization and mindset work so that you can unlock more purpose, unblock your potential, and unleash who you really are so you can enjoy and actualize your full potential. She has intuitive, on-the-money insight, which you will learn in a moment, because we want her to help you leverage your gifts and position your talent so you rise as a more powerful, amazing, unstoppable force to do good work in the world. So I'm all about that. That sounds great. All right. So today we're going to talk about some mindset shifts so that we can start to unleash your potential and make you that unstoppable force. What do you think the first thing is? Do we want to talk about what holds people back, or one thing they can do to shift their mindset to grab onto that potential?
You know, I think mindset is such a big word, and like all the buzzwords in the transformation space, purpose, and these are important words, alignment, mindset, they become so big and almost watered down. So like I feel like a lot of mindset is almost designed to have us judge ourselves that our mindset isn't good enough, right? And so for the first step is really like, how can we move away from judging ourselves? I mean, mindset is always that first shift in how am I judging myself? And the first thing I'll always notice is if someone, and myself included, when that self-talk comes in, it's how can I recognize and acknowledge something good right now? How can I recognize and acknowledge what I've done, what I'm actually doing, what I want to do instead? Because when you're recognizing your gifts, when you're acknowledging what you've achieved and what you want to achieve, or just the fact that you want, how many people don't even want, that just recognizing and acknowledging those small things shifts us away from self-negative talk.
That's really good. Yeah, that's excellent. I love the celebration part. That's awesome. It's all about, I'm all about setting a clear goal, charging down that path, crossing the finish line. But then you need to have the party. You got to celebrate how, that great work you just did.
And I think for so many people celebrating, it's like not really in the vocabulary yet. I find, so one step before, for some people, there's just a disconnect. What do you mean celebrate? Okay, I'm celebrating, and they might not even really feel it. So the step between like the celebration, it's recognizing. First, you got to recognize what you're celebrating and acknowledging it, because we don't, right? We just keep moving on and judge ourselves for that, what we're not accomplishing. So if we could recognize and acknowledge something, then we could celebrate it. And I think it's such baby steps for so many, for so many of us where the mind is just constantly trying to take us out.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. All right. After the party, then what do we do?
After the party, the upgrade. We're ready to, we're ready for the upgrade, next upgrade. And I'm really trying to pick out the best right now. Today, I put out just a small quote that our intuition is the greatest form of intelligence, and resilience comes from trusting it. So, if we're able to recognize and acknowledge ourselves along the way all the time for even small things that we're accomplishing, then we're like turning on that inner voice to recognize and acknowledge, and that's creating awareness. And that's what intuition is. Intuition, mindfulness, it's just a higher level of awareness. And that's a superpower, because most people in the world are operating on a pretty low level of awareness. Awareness for other people, awareness for their presence, awareness of how to read others. And, there's just so many ways to be more aware and intuitive. And so when you could really start to turn that volume on high, and that's part of the visualization work, because it's not necessarily a linear process. And when I say we, I'm just speaking generally, so you might not be included, whoever's listening, but in general, if we're operating in this intellectual space, a lot of the times we turn off our right brain, which is really creative, and helps us access the intuitive. So that's the next step. How can I be more aware? Yeah.
Okay. What are some things that can shut down that trust in your intuition?
Doubt is the number one taker-outer. And it's kind of like a cycle, right? Because, is it the doubt that goes away first, or is it the intuition that goes away and then causes the doubt? So doubt is the number one thing that just takes us away from our potential. It takes us away from our intuitive knowing. And we go into a place of, I don't know, I'm not good enough, how am I going to figure this out? Or whatever it is. And doubt is a conscious activity in our mind first, and then there's this subconscious mind that is also a taker-outer of our intuition. So it's being mindful I call this process conscious influence, and have a body of work around conscious influence. I mean, influence is what creates success. It creates fulfillment, because we are always influencing our outcomes no matter what, whether consciously or subconsciously. So really being aware of our patterns and acknowledging and recognizing, my subconscious mind was trying to take me out again, and taking responsibility and just making a conscious decision. I want to increase my powers of intuition. What do I need to do? That's the first step, I think.
Yeah, I like that the part of it where you step back and really become aware of what you're feeling and in your decision making. Because sometimes my energy gets away with me. It just like takes off on its own, has like its own entity. And I'll be charging down this path without stopping to say, okay, am I doing, yeah. So I'm always like, let's do this, let's do that. But yeah, I'm much more strategic now. I've realized that is an issue. So I'm growing.
I'm sure it's also a gift. It's also a gift, right?
I guess you could look at it that way. Yeah, I'm all about how to improve, always improving, right? But yeah, anyway, All right. How about tapping into superpowers? Is that part of it? Intuition, knowing what your superpower is, what your zone of genius is, because you really can create something amazing if you stay in your zone of genius. Like Eileen is on, and Eileen's is, if you ever worked with her, Pilates, it's unbelievable. That's her zone of genius. So she shouldn't be doing other things in her business. She should have other, assistants helping her.
Mm. Yeah. So the question, like, how do you increase your power, your superpowers?
Like, it's tap into them, identify what they are, because it actually took a survey of some of my clients to really put it into words, what my superpower was. I knew I was good at making connections and building relationships, but the business intuition piece, I never realized that. And once they put that word intuition into it, I was like, yes, that's exactly it. So people call me and I can identify what their strengths are, where they should be working, where they're struggling, how much to push them, when not to push. So it's all, but that word intuition, that label, I wasn't able to, I wasn't aware enough to put that label on it till I heard it. But now that I have it, I'm like, there it is. Yeah.
It's fascinating. So for Eileen and for you as well, and for me as well, like, there's certain people who channel, and we channel our genius, we channel our superpowers, meaning that, if you're at home working on the computer, working on other stuff, it's not that you might not be good at that other stuff or it has to get done. But I noticed this, and I kind of constantly attracting people who have the same thing, and we don't realize it. This is another area where recognizing it and acknowledging that your gifts are channeled in the moment. So Eileen is working with a person, a body, a physical body, and would channel your, amazing gifts as an instructor, as a healer, as a whatever you do. For you, you're channeling when someone has to give you the problem or the challenge or give you the subject matter, and then you create, right? When we're home alone in our space, working on our stuff, we're like, that's where doubt can come up, because we're not actually given the subject matter to channel our genius. And we have to trust and remember and have faith and acknowledge that, let me go get in front of people, because that's where it happens. And then I could have that reflected back to me, remind myself, and carry on with my genius.
That is so true.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Because yesterday I was talking with somebody, they were asking me, do you like to be on the ground, or do you like to be like in the background? And it's kind of both. I'm kind of the puppeteer, matching people together and things. But I like to, like, when I create my digital course, I love it when there's interaction. If I challenge somebody and they take an action and they respond, and then I respond, if there's a conversation, there's kind of a progress report, accountability piece. I love that part. But when it's just like static text out on some website, it's like, yeah, okay, that just doesn't light me up. I need to tap into people. It doesn't have to be in person. It could be just on the phone or on a Zoom call like this. But yeah, so true. That's right.
I think that speaks to us, like, our real power, superpowers, comes from connection. Connection. And the biggest thing in our massive, in the society right now, is that most people are disconnected. Right? We're disconnected from nature. We're disconnected from ourselves, disconnected from other people. So having that, like what you just explained, was it's having that connection that sparks the alchemy and the magic happens. And it's in the connection, how disconnected are we from our stuff? Where does it come from? I mean, this is a huge part of my mission and purpose on the planet, is the environment and a few other things in that realm. But how connected are we to where our stuff comes from? How connected are we to how we impact other people just by our energy, just by what I call like the morphogenetic field of the energy we're putting out into the world? So that's another superpower, connection.
Yeah, that's what the community is all about, though. It's like what used to be Network Now, that used to be, a networking group, a local thing. Now it's the Success Connection, which is virtual, but it's not just about, it's more about the community. Without that community piece, everybody helping everybody else, it would be much more flat. Sure, we can coach, but it's about introducing people to others that can help them move their business forward. Yeah, it's so good. Very good. So what else do you have? How else are you going to make me a superstar, girl?
You already are, my dear. Yeah, you are. You're amazing. How could you make me a superstar? I'm kidding. I think that like, I'm just going to go back to the connection, like just kind of what we've already talked about: connection, intuition, conscious influence, just being more conscious in general, and recognizing and acknowledging how awesome other people are. I think it's, we can start to really, if we're self-doubting ourselves, we're going to go out there into the world and start judging other people, right? And when I find, like, a lot of times in people, when where there's a communication kind of snafu with somebody or something, it's often that there's just judgment. There's judgment involved. So for me, superpowers include being able to have people love you and jump on board with your vision, no matter what. And even if there's a discord, you don't agree, then, how can you hold space for the other person and just recognize and acknowledge their greatness, even if they're a jerk? Like, it's really, it's hard. It's not easy, right? When someone kind of rubs you the wrong way, to just kind of find the genius in that person. Because when you can do that, you can see how disconnected they are from their own genius, that they're not even able to show up.
Yeah. No, I love that. I was
articulate that the right way.
Well, yeah, a couple of points there. One was how doubt. I want to know how to overcome doubt if people are experiencing that. But that I love all people for all their quirks and interests and personalities. Like way back when my teens in high school, I was never just in one group. I loved all the different groups. I found everyone so interesting. I just love that diversity. It's awesome. So do you think people judge others when they're feeling less than themselves? How do we help them? And I guess I also feel like if you want to improve, because your business growth is all dependent on your personal growth. So as you grow personally, you can handle more of a business. It just keeps going like that. So that's why this whole mindset work is important, because I can't help people advance in their business if they're stuck personally, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of questions in there, sorry.
No, so how do we overcome the doubt, or why are we judging other? How do we overcome the doubt and judgment of others, and I guess
that's
also
one piece,
judgment of ourselves?
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, I think, and it's all about self-love. And, as cliche as that sounds, when we really can love ourselves, we won't take it personally when somebody else, when we feel like someone rejected us or says no to the sale, or, whatever happens, when we really have this deep sense of inner power and self-love, then we can see the injured part in the other person, or the wounded part, and not take it personally. And I think that's the biggest thing about, being in business, putting yourself out there, being willing to take rejection, being willing to take no's, and keep forging ahead and recalibrating and getting clear on what your message is. And I say this is about unleashing who you really are, because who we really are. We are love. We're so, like I always say, we can do better than this as a society. We can do better than this as a collective, right? And how can we love other people if we don't love ourselves? How can we show up and really engage in sacred reciprocity? That's what business is, right? It's a service. So in my as a lawyer, other hat, I have a law firm, and it's the conscious contracts firm. So it's really about understanding the relationships we have with people as they're sacred. And every time we enter into a business contract, it shouldn't be like guns cocked. If you do this, I'm going to take you to court. Da, da, da. But it's really coming from a place of sacred reciprocity. Let's all prosper here. And when you start to come from that place, no matter what, you take the judgment, you take the rejection, you take the whatever's coming at you less personally, I think, and then you start judging other people less as well, because you feel solid and firm in yourself.
Yeah, that's definitely a different perspective for an attorney, because a lot of them come with guns a-blazing, right? And they're just like in it to win it, they're slashing throats as they go. So I love your approach. That's awesome. Eileen is writing in the chat, she was never in a clique. She surrounds herself with winners, people that support her and lift her up. She focuses on all the she suggests we all focus on the clients that love you, and realize that not everyone is going to connect with your personality. You attract your tribe, right?
Yeah, and there's an Oprah video floating around Facebook right now that's pretty cool, and it's she's like, whenever you feel like someone's draining your energy, like we have the power to remove ourselves. We don't owe anyone anything ever, except to really just nurture ourselves, because we can't nurture other people unless we're taking care of our own energy. So surround yourself with your tribe, and
Eileen, can I unmute you? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, girl. Tell us a little bit more about what you were sharing there.
Because I was always and still am a very sensitive person, and early on in my career, I did take everything to heart. If not everybody, clients. I deal with a lot of different personalities and people that have other stuff going on. Because of a wellness center, you tend to attract people that may be looking for an outlet as well from their home life. And so you kind of take on being a psychologist as well. So you would get those drainers. So I learned through the years to really try to focus on the ones, when I talk most, I love all my clients, but you will, one or two will come around that will drain you. And I just try to spin it positive with them and try to, like Jamie said, you start to get to really know different people's personalities. And I guess I kind of like a chameleon, you can change when you start understanding where they are coming from and, put your best self out there, if that makes any sense. Like, I'll get someone that's in severe pain and they come with fear. So sometimes they can not be very motivated. So I had to try to, help them not focus so much on the pain and try to show them, I'm not explaining it, to be more positive and not focus so much on that, focus on where you could be and get yourself out, because a lot of times people come here because their family is tired of hearing that they're in pain. So then they come here and try to do the same thing because people not that your family's tired of hearing it, but I think that it drains on people all the time.
Sure, because you need to solve, you need to solve the problem, not just complain about it. If you're not going to do anything about it, I don't want to hear about it.
Right. But I had to learn, it's a sensitive topic. So you have to learn, understand people's personalities and I guess handle them differently. And, it took part of me maturing, and I'm in my late 40s now, to realize all that before I would take it to heart and be so sensitive. And then you realize it's not really you. They could have something else going on in their life.
So Eileen, how do you let others see their potential for greatness?
I try to find so you're in a session. I always try to find a move or something they do that they did really well and point that out. Oh, that was great. You just don't, you're really improving, or not focus so much on ones they cannot do. And sometimes if there's one that they're struggling with, I move on to the next one and then maybe pick it up next time. I just try to stay, like I said, focus on what they are good at and keep them motivated and not be so hard on themselves, because people are like that. Like if they're not getting Pilates right away, they get very frustrated. And I try to say, be happy where you are, and then you'll eventually, it all does click and you'll get a deeper understanding of it and get better and better.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, so Stephanie, it sounds like Eileen is following your suggestions. She's doing the celebration with her clients, what they do well, right? And then she's tapping into her intuition and awareness of their personality, where their body's at, and then letting her clients know, letting them see what the potential is, where they can go. So that's awesome. Good job.
And one more thing I can point out is I used to also, I don't know if you've had this, Jamie, where you couldn't help somebody and you did try and maybe it wasn't for them. And I used to beat myself up like, no, this is the best thing. I know I can help you. And then realize that like they have to want to help themselves, and maybe you can't help them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do come back around, but I used to beat myself up if you lose a client. Like, oh my God, what did I do? It's not really you. It's like maybe they want to try something else, or maybe they'll be back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not such a straight line, is it?
Right.
I was going to say with that, I'm also, I do mediation. I have a past of doing mediation. And one of the things as a mediator, you can only mediate between two parties that are amenable to mediation, to coming to a solution. And so I always think about it like your client, Eileen, they're mediating with their higher self. And if their higher self is always willing to come and help them heal, but if they're not amenable, then you can't be a mediator, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so that's right. That's what I'm learning as I go. Being in business, you learn that over the years. But in the beginning, it's hard. You beat yourself up, Yeah.
It's really good.
But I did learn you can't help everyone, and then sometimes maybe I wasn't for them, sometimes.
You're too cute.
I doubt that, but no.
She's like 5 pounds, tiny little thing.
So I'll give you an example. I had an older woman came to me. I'm going to say she's late 60s, and she tried PT. She tried everything. She had fallen, I guess, 6 months to a year ago and got a concussion. But she already came in fearful. She was fearful of neck pain. She always has pain. She won't take any medication. She wants holistic. And nothing seems to be working for her. So she came to me. She signed up for, I think I saw her 8 times. She loved it, was seeing progress. So I started trying to progress her, challenge her. And then she said she had a setback and she was fearful, didn't want to come back. And she kept focusing on this neck pain. And I kept trying to say to her, you have to keep up with it. You can't come once this week and then just once next week. You have to keep going. You will go get past that hump and continue to get better. So she's coming back in August, but she wanted to take 2 months off. So now I feel like she's going to regress. But again, I got to a point where I can't fight with her. I acknowledge how she feels. Take a step back, let her get herself together again, and then we'll start again, slow again. So I had to learn that I have to go with her pace. So even though I thought she was ready to progress, in her mind, she's not ready. So I have to take it back a step. So
yeah, I can see how that's frustrating because you can help her. But yes, like you said, she has to be ready and all in. It's like someone else I work with, she uses she asks the question all the time, are you interested in getting this result, or are you committed? Because when you're committed, you're going to do what it takes to get there. If you're just interested, you're probably not going to cross that finish line. So it's really
no. And I don't know about you, Jamie, with your business, but I wonder if you find too, even when you take someone on and you mentor them, they also have to do the work. You can't just sit back and think, okay, Jamie's going to do this and this. You have to, I feel you have to do your part as well.
Oh yeah. That's always a good one. That's always funny to me because they're like, they don't participate. They don't do anything, but then they're like, didn't work for me.
Right.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yes, that's what I mean. I think people have to take and be ready for that, in your time and your life to be willing to do. I know my life was crazy and busy and I had a lot going on, but if you step back and look and see that Jamie can make these connections, but you have to run with it. You have to also participate.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, the ones that participate, it's like anything in life. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it. So.
Get out of it, right. Yeah. So, and that's the same thing with my business. If they have to put more into it to get results and get better, you have to commit to it.
Absolutely. So, yeah,
interesting.
Well, thanks for participating, Eileen. So we're going to wrap up.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Okay. So, Stephanie, maybe just one of the things you're going to be doing at the retreat is visualization. Could you just tell us what that means?
Yes. So, how do I tell you it? I mean, we all have our own idea of what we do for visualization. So the premise for me is always about, like I said before, about influence and conscious influence. We're always influencing our outcomes, no matter what, whether intentionally, subconsciously or just neutrally. And so to really understand how we are responsible for our results or whatever we're experiencing, I say there's 3 steps to that. One is your vocabulary, the vocabulary that we use to speak. We speak our world into being all the time. And that's how we're influenced. And we influence others by the words we're choosing. How, right? If you listen to some people talk, you're like, oh my God, stay away. Like, take that negativity over there, please. But if we really start to be aware of how we speak, that's one form of like conscious influence. Another form is visualization. So to realize that there is so much going on in our subconscious mind all the time that's actually visualizing our reality into being, and we're not even aware of it because we're not participating with it. I mean, there's so many parts of our brain that are causing things to happen in the invisible that we're not aware of. And so the process of visualization that I use is it's really helping people access that subconscious mind that's already playing in the background. That's, it's those, we've heard that our thoughts create our reality, right? Well, it's more than just our thoughts. It's our subconscious mind that creates our reality all the time, and our results and everything that we are experiencing. And so how do we use the power of our subconscious mind? It's through visualization. It's through starting to do it consciously, starting to visualize consciously. So that's what the power of behind visualization, and the process is just a secret. So you have to come and experience it. That's it.
That's it. Oh, I'm so excited to share you and everyone else that's going to be there. It's such a powerhouse lineup. It's unbelievable. So it's Soar to New Heights. If you can get away, I wouldn't put together anything that wasn't amazing. I'm sorry. Why waste my time? My goal is to have such an impact. When we had the retreat in Florida in January, the shifts that were made were incredible, but the community that was built was also, it just blew people away. So one of the people that attended was Marissa Pulselli, who was just launching her copywriting career, but on the side while working full-time in a job she could not stand. And by helping her tap into and realize her greatness, how talented she was, and give her that confidence. And then we were there, we had like a little chat on, I don't know what, I guess we were using Facebook Messenger, but all of us from the retreat are in this little chat. And when she was going to the HR department to quit her job, we were all in there cheering her on. We were like with her the whole way. We like gave her that support to pull the trigger and quit and go full-time into her business. It's like seeing a shift like that, where somebody's like, yes, I can do what I'm really good at, and I can make this work, and I have this group of people that are going to make sure that it all works out okay. It's like so powerful than trying to do it all by yourself. But so that piece, the support of the community, on top of all the content that you get at NIDA Retreat, is just so powerful. Another person had a shift where it wasn't necessarily on their business, but it was, she realized she hadn't been doing any of the things that she had been planning to do in her life. So it's like she came home from that and she like signed up for the Culinary Institute, weren't there for a week, and learned how to cook and all these things that she really wanted to do someday. Some days now, people. So let's do it. Yes. And another person came back and they totally shifted with their career. They came back and they were on fire. They had clarity of what they wanted to do with their business. They had a website, a program, collaboration. They were doing videos. They had all this marketing going on. It was like, she just like catapulted out of that. It's unbelievable.
And one of the things too, I just noticed, Eileen, your comment there. Hopefully one day I have another Pilates teacher to help me so I could take time off and join you. And I'm going to say a quote here that's not mine, but I live by it. Hope is not a strategy. Right? It's like, what do I have to do to get to have an instructor cover for me so I could be there? That's the strategy. It's like a decision, right? And so that woman who quit her job and she came to that retreat and it helped her make the decision. And I think sometimes when I put things on the calendar, commit to something, I don't exactly know why. I don't exactly know the outcome I want. I just feel like I got to be there. And so, it sounds like what you're putting together, the whole thing just sounds amazing. And hopefully it's not a strategy. And people ought to be feeling like I got to be there.
Yeah, it's gonna be off the chain. Yeah, the first day there, we're going to have a welcome reception at an orchard, which sounded like a nice thing to do. And then I find out that not only do they have hard ciders and local wines, but they have a mixologist on staff who can make amazing cocktails for us. I think we should make a Sword of New Heights cocktail. And then they have a Culinary Institute trained chef that's going to make appetizers for us. It's just, what? Like, wow. That's so great. Yeah. So it's going to be an amazing experience. Yeah.
Congratulations to you for putting it together.
Well, thank you for being part of it, Stephanie. It's awesome. Yeah. So how can we find you, Stephanie? StephanieTrager.com, is that?
Yeah, so my company is called Intentional Paradigms. It's coaching and consulting firm. It's called Intentional Paradigms. So intentional means done with deliberate intent or on purpose. And a paradigm, it's a set of rules or beliefs or assumptions by which we live as a society or a group. The paradigm for indigenous people in the jungle is different than ours. So the purpose behind that is how do we live and create our own paradigm intentionally instead of just going with the sheep and the flow of everybody else.
Right.
That's how we thrive. So how can you find me at stephanietrager.com or intentionalparadigms.com, and I'm linked with Jamie on Facebook as well and on Twitter. It's all Stephanie Trager. And if you search Intentional Paradigms, you should find that as well.
It's really good. Awesome.
Yay.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I'll get the replay up shortly and share your knowledge and wonderful personality with everyone.
Thank you, Jamie. It's been great connecting with you and your tribe.
Yeah. Thanks. See ya.
Okay. Bye-bye.